Happy Monday, teachers, and welcome back to Inside the Classroom. My name is Sarah Willis. I am your host every Monday night, and I want to extend my gratitude for those of you who are listening. Some of you even choose to watch on YouTube, so I'm very grateful for all of you. Before I get started on today's topic and discussion, I want a quick shout out for summer. Today is Monday, April 25th. And we only have, at my district, 5 Mondays left until summer is here. So if anything, that meme of the cat or kitten that's hanging on to that limb is ever present in my mind, with the big old caption and marquee above my head that says hanging in there. We have semester exams to look forward to. For our seniors who are graduating, they have so much to look forward to, like prom and graduation itself. But for the rest of us, we are almost there. I'll get into that at a later date. That will probably be a topic that will come soon. How to end the year well. And we want to finish strong. We want to finish as if we're coming back. I know some of us aren't. Some of us are choosing to move on to other things or other jobs or other school districts. And so there's definitely closure where we're currently at. But for the rest of us, we get a break. And I don't know about you, my summertime is definitely for my family. It's definitely time to travel outside of the city and the school district that I work in, just to see other places. And then probably, like most of us, it's that summer professional development time, which again will probably be another topic. So hang in there, you guys. We are almost to the finish line for the 2021-2022 school year. I'm excited about the very quick discussion we're going to have today because it is a fun one. At least I hope it's going to be. I've discussed in the 8 episodes that I've begun, most of it dealing with the negative or with the difficult or with the challenges, because that is what inspired this podcast, is the fact that we face difficulty. But tonight, I don't want to admit that we as teachers have so much fun. The stuff we get to see, the stuff we get to talk about, and the crazy students and the funny students that we have is also a reality, and we have to remind ourselves of that. So I recently posted on my social media just 2 questions. One, reaching out to my friends, asking what they love to learn, going back to their high school time. What is one thing that sticks out in their mind? Basically, what was fun? What made it so memorable? And then for my colleagues, I asked, what do they love to teach because it's fun or because it's engaging? And so I have some great feedback that I'm really excited to share with you guys. So quick shout out to my friends and my colleagues who did answer the post. That would be Connor, that would be Ariel, that would be Laura, Angie, Crystal, Stacia, Andra, and Jackie. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your busy days. Some of you are in the education field and you took the time out to give me some really great feedback. So I'm going to walk through that. Hopefully it will be an encouragement to all of you out there. Some of this, or at least most of this, does not derive from elementary or middle school. Most of these memories are from high school because it's the most fresh, it's the most recent. So I do not want to discourage my elementary teachers who listen or my junior high, middle school teachers who listen. I cannot wait to have some of you guys on here so we can literally see the line that is built leading up to this high school position, leading up to these high schoolers. And so you serve and you are very crucial to all of this. And I bet your fun looks so much different than this fun. You guys, man, you get pajama days, you get movie days, you get Special Olympics and play days and field day. That was one of my favorites. And then you guys get to teach so much more with hands-on, because as smaller students, as younger students, that's pretty much how most of them learn. And when you get up to high school, some of that goes away, as you're about to see. But a couple of things that stood out, most of the responses I got from these lovely individuals was about English and literature and reading poetry, and understanding that when you have buy-in, when you have high engagement in English class, which in my opinion, as an English teacher, I think it's the hardest. It's subjective, it's difficult, it's very specific in so many regards as far as grammar and writer's craft and literary devices and rhetoric. It's tough, and it's a very tough class, and usually you're either really good at it or you're not at all. There's not a whole lot of people in the middle that do very well, but surprisingly, that's what a lot of the feedback was. And so I have one of my favorite things to read was Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. It is a great play. I haven't read it since high school. I don't teach it, but I do remember the fun we had, the laughter we had reading through that. So that's a good one. Another feedback I got was economics, and just how fun it was and how useful. If you can ever find a way to combine the fun and the useful, you have struck gold in the eyes of these students when they see the value and the authenticity to what they're learning, or applicability, I don't think that's a word, to what they're learning, and then they're having fun while doing it. Again, you just made $1 million right there. So economics is one of those things, so useful, so needed. This particular person even gave a quick shout out to Dave Ramsey. He, if you're not sure who he is the CEO, he's the lead, he's the creator of Financial Peace University, and his company actually puts out and produces a high school curriculum. So if any of you guys are not aware of that out there, definitely talk to your government eco teachers and get that in the hands of your students, because it is definitely needed. Another one that stuck out in a person's mind was the book Night by Elie Wiesel. We say his name very differently, but it's a memoir. It's his memoir of surviving the Holocaust, those different concentration camps that he and his family went to, Buchenwald and the different ones. And so exposing that history is fun in a sobering sense for our students. You know, reading about the cattle cars, reading about the boy in the striped pajamas, reading about how, you know, the Nazis really did assume power and their reasons behind it, and even Hitler himself. It is interesting, and it can be made fun as long as you keep to the theme of it being solemn and sober. But another one that was given to me was Teach Talk, which I'm not sure if that's the actual technical term for it, but for this person teaching a foreign language, something fun that she incorporated into her classroom was just storytelling. And you give the students kind of a starter, and then they pick it up, and eventually at the end of the class, you have this well thought out story that all the students had buy into, and they all contributed while, you know, acclimating to a different language such as Spanish or French or German, whatever your school offers, and just making the material into a story. Even if you're teaching things like genetics, or if you're teaching things like biomes, or if you're teaching the Continental Congress, you can definitely use storytelling or Teach Talk to get the students to understand. It's a lot of fun, turning everything into a story. In general, reading has been known as a great escape. Any time that you get to dig into a setting or dig into a time period or dig into a character, and it opens your mind. I mean, that's the way you travel without spending a ton of money. That's the way you learn how to be social without getting yourself in awkward situations or in environments that you're really not sure about. Reading is so key. And I can't remember where I saw this, but this person, who I'm sure was a famous author, said, "I've never met a person who hates to read. I've just met readers who have hated what they've read." And I agree with that 100%. We're reading a book right now in my class, and several students love it and they're engaged in it. But others, they sit back and they say, "Oh, I just hate reading in general." I was like, no, you just don't like this piece. You like to read. You just haven't found it yet. And it is definitely out there. Some more feedback I got was career exploration. You guys, we've got to do better at the high school about exposing careers. One of my favorite stories I'll never forget. I used to be a very huge Disney fan. Lately, I've had to distance myself because of stances that they've taken on several things. But in high school, where I went was very small, was very close-knit, and was in a way isolated from the world, so to speak. And so most of the career tracks that were obvious to us were law, medical, trade, ranching was a big thing. Welding was a big thing when I was in school. Teaching, and maybe one or two others. There was just 7 or 8 that were obvious to us, and we were not exposed. And so I tell my students all the time, if someone told me when I was in middle school band that I could make a career, if I got really good at my instrument, that I could one day be playing in the Disney Symphony for the Disney films, the music behind the scenes, y'all, I may not be a teacher. But that was never exposed to me. I never thought that that was a job, literally getting just to play music all day long for really great, used to be wholesome films for families. So career exploration, I've got to hand it to my friend Stacia, who gave me this feedback. We need to do better because there are hundreds, if not millions, of different jobs out there that fit each of our students, and it could be a lot of fun. My friend Andra, who is now a principal, super exciting. One of her favorites, she's a science person. She loved dissecting animals. I know nowadays with PETA and with animal rights, and for all of our students who are furries and things like that, dissecting, it might be a old school thing, but I agree. Getting your hands, smelling that formaldehyde, I can just smell it even now, literally made the learning real and tangible. Seeing the blood vessels and seeing the tendons and seeing the muscles. I mean, obviously you can't do that with a human, I don't think. At Body Worlds you can if you ever get to go to the museum. But dissecting animals, frogs or cats or fish, I think some schools use, really makes the learning fun, 100%. And then last, the bit of feedback that I received was using literature to teach life. Right now, I'm going through the book Freedom Writer's Diary with one of my sections, and it is one of those pieces of literature that teaches life, a different life, 1990 life, or late 90s in Long Beach, I think it was, California. So very different than what we see here in Texas. Whoops. You guys fell. Sorry about that. I'll set you back up. Very different life than we see here in Texas. But still, teaches about violence, teaches about gangs, some of us aren't even exposed to that, really. And so using literature, English teachers out there, reading teachers out there, find literature that teaches them life. Stories are fun. Fiction is fun. We are about to end our year with dystopia. I mean, it's fun, and it can definitely teach life. if you stretch it and if you're able to. Otherwise, they're just reading to read, to get a grade and to pass and to move on from that unit or to end the year, whatever it looks like. So learning and teaching can be fun. You guys, we have a front row seat to laughter and to joy and to having fun in our classrooms. And so really this episode, I wanted to remind all of you that this job is hard. It's getting more and more difficult, as we can see, but y'all, the fun is still there. The dress-up days, they're still there. The playing the music in your classrooms is still there. Acting sometimes like a fool is still there. Do your part, really, to make sure that the students feel the fun. Maybe it's not actually fun, right? I get that. Not everything can be fun. But if they feel the fun, doing different voices or being super animated, or just changing it up, go outside. Even if you're not the super enthusiastic person that has different personas, in class, take them outside, change the scenery. Bring someone else in, like, hey, we're going to have a guest speaker today. Someone who maybe teaches this better than I do. Give them a different face to look at. The fun is still possible. As far as biblical encouragement, guys, with fun, I searched and I Googled, verses about fun or verses about joy. And ultimately, one of the fruits of the Spirit is joy. And I honestly know and believe that when we are being joyful, when we are laughing, as long as, it's in a good way, not making fun of or degrading someone else, but it brings the Lord joy and he sees that. And there's blessings that rain down from that fun, because every good thing comes from the Lord. Nothing is human made that God has not allowed or pretty much made himself through that. And so everything we have is literally a blessing and a gift from the Lord. So laughter, nothing makes me happier than a baby's laugh, right? And hearing high schoolers laugh is pretty close. When I get them away from their phones or when I remind them to stop taking themselves so seriously, because they do. They're business, or at least they like to think they are. 100%. So this week, I encourage you guys to bring the fun back, right? Bring an element of excitement and joy into your classrooms. As you can tell with the feedback I got from my friends and colleagues, like everyone remembers something different and something fun, whether it's the material itself, whether it's the delivery, whether there's value that they find. Finding value is fun. When you see the importance and the difference it can make in your life, it's fun to realize that. So moving forward, you guys, I know this is a pretty short episode and my setup is a little different, but remind yourself, we got in this for a reason, and it wasn't to be grumpy. And it wasn't to make other people miserable. And it isn't to make students hate learning. We got into this because A, we loved to learn. And so therefore our love of learning makes us the teachers that we are. Two, we wanted to make a difference. And I don't know anyone who can make a difference being a pout fish, as my son would say. So tap into that. Or ask for help. Hey, what are some ways that I can make this more engaging? Hey, what are some ways that I can, put fun into this lesson? Because I promise you, we have a great job. And we have wonderful students that most of the time are looking forward to having fun. Guys, thank you for spending the time with me on this Monday night. I can't wait for episode 10. Super exciting. Next week, I'm not sure the topic yet, but I'm sure the Lord will reveal that to me. But I've been doing this for almost 10 weeks now, which is really exciting. So thanks to you for that. Remember, follow me on social media. Follow me Instagram, Twitter, send emails, inside.the.classroom@protonmail.com. Find me on Facebook at Sarah Willis. And I cannot wait to get deeper into this, learn more from each of you. to combine, right, the great materials, the great engagements with the fun, which will ultimately make a difference and allow us to stay inside the classroom. Thanks, guys. You guys have a great rest of your week.